So I have a confession to make. I've been eating gummy bears for as long as I can remember. And until recently, I never really thought about what they're actually made of or how they're made. I mean, they're just cute little colorful bears, right? But when I started digging into the actual manufacturing process and the science behind these things, my whole perspective shifted. And I'm not saying you'll never eat them again, but you might look at that bag a little differently next time you're at the checkout counter. Let's talk about what actually goes into making gummy bears and what that means for your body. The star ingredient. Let's start with the ingredient that makes gummy bears. Well, gummy. It's gelatin, and here's where things get interesting. Gelatin comes from collagen, which is a protein found in animal connective tissues. We're talking about the skin, bones, and ligaments of pigs and cows primarily. The manufacturing process involves taking these animal parts and boiling them down for hours until the collagen breaks down and dissolves into a thick, jelly-like substance. Now I know what you're thinking, and yeah, it sounds pretty wild when you say it out loud. But here's the thing. Humans have been using every part of animals for thousands of years. So in that sense, it's actually a pretty efficient use of materials that would otherwise be waste products from the meat industry. The gelatin itself is actually about 98% protein, which technically makes gummy bears have some protein content, though we'll get to why that's misleading in a minute. The manufacturing process. Once they have the gelatin, the real manufacturing process begins. They mix it with sugar. Lots of sugar, corn syrup, and various acids like citric acid. This mixture gets heated to around 135 degrees Fahrenheit until everything dissolves into a thick, clear syrup. Then comes the interesting part. They add artificial colors and flavors. Most gummy bears use petroleum-based food dyes like Red 40, Yellow 5, and Blue 1. These are the same dyes that have been studied extensively and, in some cases, linked to behavioral issues in children. A study published in the journal Lancet found that certain artificial food colorings were associated with increased hyperactivity in children. The research involved over 300 children and found measurable increases in hyperactive behavior when they consumed foods with these additives. Now, the concentrations used in the study were equivalent to what a child might consume in a typical day of eating processed foods, which could include a serving of gummy bears. The molding magic. After all the ingredients are mixed, the liquid gets poured into molds. Those cute little bear-shaped impressions we all recognize. But here's what's fascinating. The molds are made from cornstarch. Factory workers create thousands of bear impressions in trays of cornstarch, and then the hot liquid gelatin mixture gets deposited into each cavity. The gummy bears sit in these starch molds for 24 to 48 hours, while they cool and solidify. During this time, the cornstarch actually pulls moisture out of the candy, which is what gives gummy bears their characteristic chewy texture. After they've set, the bears get tumbled to remove excess starch. Then they get a coating of either wax or oil to give them that shiny appearance and prevent them from sticking together. That glossy finish you see, that's food-grade wax, the same stuff used on apples and other produce to make them look more appealing. Sugar overload. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the bear in the bag. The sugar content? A standard serving of gummy bears, about 17 pieces, contains roughly 22 grams of sugar. That's more than half of the American Heart Association's recommended daily limit for added sugar for women, which is 25 grams per day. For men, it's 36 grams, so a single serving gets you more than halfway there. But here's what really matters: what happens in your body when you eat them. Because gummy bears are essentially pure sugar with no fiber, no fat, and minimal protein to slow down absorption, that sugar hits your bloodstream incredibly fast. Your blood glucose spikes within about 15 to 30 minutes. Research from the Journal of Nutrition showed that foods with high glycemic indices, like gummy candies, cause rapid blood sugar fluctuations that can lead to energy crashes, increased hunger, and over time, insulin resistance. A study following over 50,000 participants found that higher consumption of foods with added sugars was associated with increased risk of type 2 diabetes, even after controlling for body weight. The researchers found that for every additional serving per day of sugar-sweetened foods, there was a 13% increase in diabetes risk. Now, gummy bears aren't mentioned specifically, but they fall squarely into that category of high-sugar, low-nutrient foods. The gelatin paradox. Here's something that makes gummy bears kind of fascinating from a health perspective. Remember that gelatin we talked about? There's actually some research suggesting that gelatin might have certain health benefits. Studies have shown that gelatin contains amino acids, like glycine and proline, that may support joint health and skin elasticity. Some research published in the journal Current Medical Research and Opinion found that gelatin supplementation helped reduce joint pain in athletes. But before you start thinking gummy bears are a health food, let's be real. The amount of gelatin in gummy bears is relatively small, and it's completely overshadowed by the massive sugar content. It's like saying a chocolate bar is healthy because cocoa has antioxidants. Technically true, but missing the bigger picture entirely. If you're finding this deep dive into gummy bear science as eye-opening, as I did, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps this kind of content reach people who want to understand what they're actually eating. Digestive consequences. Now here's something most people don't know about gummy bears. If you eat too many at once, they can cause some serious digestive chaos. Remember, gelatin is essentially a thickening agent, and when you consume large quantities, it can slow down your digestive system significantly. Add to that the massive influx of sugar, and you've got a recipe for bloating, stomach cramps, and let's just say, extended bathroom visits. There's actually a famous case of sugar-free gummy bears that went viral years ago because they contained sugar alcohols like maltitol as sweeteners. The reviews on Amazon were legendary, with people describing catastrophic digestive consequences. While regular gummy bears don't have sugar alcohols, eating a whole bag can still overwhelm your system. The concentrated sugar can draw water into your intestines through osmosis, which can lead to diarrhea. It's basically candy-induced chaos in your gut. The global phenomenon. What's really interesting is how gummy bears became this global phenomenon. They were invented in Germany in 1922 by Hans Riegel, who founded Haribo. The name gummy bear comes from the German word Gummibärchen. Today, billions of gummy bears are produced every year worldwide, with the global gummy candy market valued at over $3 billion. People consume these things everywhere, from movie theaters to office desks, often mindlessly eating handful after handful. Research on eating behavior shows that when we eat foods that require minimal chewing and dissolve quickly, like gummy bears, we tend to consume more before feeling satisfied. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that foods requiring less oral processing lead to faster eating rates and reduced satiety signals, meaning you eat more calories before your brain realizes you're full. The bottom line. Look, I'm not here to tell you that gummy bears are evil or that you should never eat them, but knowing what goes into them and how they're made does change the perspective a bit. They're essentially flavored colored animal collagen, suspended in a massive amount of sugar. The manufacturing process is actually pretty clever from an engineering standpoint, but from a nutritional standpoint, they offer virtually nothing beneficial. If you enjoy them occasionally as a treat, knowing full well what they are, that's totally fine. The problem is when people, especially kids, are consuming them regularly without understanding that they're basically eating candy that happens to be shaped like cute bears. That protein content I mentioned earlier? It's negligible compared to the sugar bomb you're ingesting. You'd need to eat an absurd amount to get any meaningful protein, and by then, you'd have consumed enough sugar to spike your blood glucose into the stratosphere. The more you learn about how everyday foods are actually made, the more you realize that marketing and reality are often two very different things. Gummy bears seem innocent, fun, and harmless, but the manufacturing process reveals they're a carefully engineered combination of animal byproducts, industrial dyes, and concentrated sweeteners designed to be as appealing as possible. If this kind of behind-the-scenes look at the foods we eat all the time interests you, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I break down the real science and manufacturing processes behind everyday products that we just accept without question. Drop a comment and let me know what food or product you want me to investigate next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.